Hey guys, it's fun to be on the other side of the streaming bit this time. Not racing this time, but yeah, this as Ankur said, it's the first time we're having a paid league here with prize money, and yeah, should be fun. The first race is at the Tokyo Expressway south clockwise, and we're having a one make per lobby per round, so we should be in for some close racing and some interesting battles. Yeah, so we have around I think 4 minutes for the qualification. We can maybe just toggle through the liveries, some of the beautiful liveries the guys have made. Sure, give me a second. Okay, I with the Vishal. Hold on. Yeah, only fast racing. These guys, yeah. These are the turbo turtles. That's Sumant Varsam, yeah. And here we have Neil. That's the Rise Hunter, the Riser Racing. These guys, yeah, that's some cool flames in black. Yeah. Very true, very true. Because the guys maybe it would increase your mic a bit. Here we have Ishan, cool Ishan from Team Action. With a cool livery. Here we have Corbett from the Undertakers. Classic blue. Here we have Shabbos from Speed Syndicate. Rockstar livery here. Here we have Rahul from Team Redline. I think we are good to go. There might be some mic issues, but we will fix that as we proceed with the race. But yeah, I can see all the racers are on track. Okay, and quali let's go. Keep in mind it's just the 5 minutes, so it's pretty much a one-shot quali. As we can see, everyone is out on the hunt for a lap. I hope as they get closer to the start line, everyone respects each other and gives them enough space. I'd imagine it definitely would, especially the long back straight. And here we go. So Ganesh has started his flying lap, and Rahul is right in the middle of his dirty air, and he's just passed him on the qualifying lap. Not exactly what you want to see on qualifying session, but well, you can see most of the grid is bunched up. Yeah, but I can hear you. So it's pretty easy. As we head into the chicane, with Ganesh be the first one to start his lap. And he's putting 134. Rahul is on probationary pole at 134.2. Okay, Rahul is into the pits. He's currently on pole. Then we have Abdus, followed by the Hari effect. 4. So it's very close between Rahul and Abdus. Under a 10 between the both of them. Then we have Ganesh in P4, who is half a second from the lead, and Neil, who is 1/100th of a second away from Ganesh. Then we have Shevin, Ishan, Vishal, Sammy, and Corbett close up the grid. Abdus is just chilling in the pits. I'm assuming he's given it his all and is pretty confident on that pole. He's sealed pole. Rahul is still out there, giving it his final try as the clock winds down. The setting is very as Rahul completes his lap but with a penalty, so the standings remain unchanged. That's Abdus in pole, Rahul in P2, Hari Effect in P3, Ganesh in P4, Neil in P5, Shevin in P6, Ishan in P7, Vishal in P8, Sammy in P9, and Gorbit completes the grid. Okay. Sounds good, okay. Sure. Fair man, no issues. No issues. Thanks. Okay, so as we see the times here, Abdus being the only driver getting into the 33s and under a third of a second away from Rahul in P2, and the Hari Effect with a 34.4 in P3. It's pretty close grid. Yeah, but as we go further down, yeah, it starts spreading out. But we're in for a interesting race. think share your voice. I think you have to allow that from your end, maybe. Okay, yeah, the races go, and everyone is at each other's tails as expected. There's Abdus, Rahul, Hari effect, Ganesh. The order remains unchanged as we approach the hairpin.
I'm gonna try speaking here. Let's see if the audience can hear me.
We see Hari effect making a move into P2 already. Great.
This is gonna be epic, Jilan. This is gonna be epic. I assure you that. I am quite certain. Apologies for the technical delay at my end. There was some issue where I couldn't share my audio, but clearly Abdus is having a wonderful setup here, and he's already pulling away as if he's already got a boost of nitrous oxide. But Mohammed, please take us through all the regulations in terms of what's going on over here. What is this entire format like while we capture all the action, because we can already see a train happening. 20 intense laps with the Honda S2000. What are we in for over here?
Absolutely, as we see, Abdus is already over a second in the lead, and within a lap, which is some serious pace. But behind him, everyone is fighting for P2, and everyone is within each other's slipstream, so it should be fine. A key factor to keep in mind here is damage is set at heavy, so any contact with the other cars or the wall, and you're in for some heavy damage, which might even require to pit. And that single factor could have a big effect on your race strategy and the final outcome as well.
Interesting, really interesting, because heavy damage only means one thing, that there is no other option but that you have to pit, and you have to spend a lot more time in the pits. But having said that, Abdus has already pulled off a 1.5 second lead. What is the reason for this? I mean, this is phenomenal driving by at his end for sure. He's really progressed from being an absolute rookie to like really being one of the top fast guys. This is really talent that he's scouted. But what is the reason that he's gaining so much ground?
I would put that primarily to his skill, of course, and the fresh air he's getting right there at the front. The S2000 is pretty heavy on the aero bit, so yeah, that has a decent amount of clear air to just pull away from the rest of the guys.
Interesting. As you say that, Jilan, I'm looking at all the action at the back while the stream's currently focused on Dards Motorsports. There's an interesting battle brewing up for P4 between Gyanesh and Neil Deshpande, and they are fighting aggressively. But what I'm also noticing over here is the fact that the moment you sort of get away from someone, I think the escape is a lot more easy. So is it because the tire deg is also high, the fuel settings also coming into play? There's so many factors that are going on over here that I think a driver needs to keep in mind. It's just not as straightforward as we thought it would be.
Very true, Ankur. So another factor here is the initial fuel load for everyone is 50 liters. So that is pretty light, and everyone is going to be very aggressive. The tire wear is set at 14, which is pretty intense. But again, and we have sports tires this time around, not racing. That is an interesting point as well. But as we see here, the top 4 is pulling away from the rest of the grid. We have, but everyone is more or less within each other's slipstream. So,
if you're entering in blind, considering that we're looking at sports soft tires coming in, we've got barely a certain amount of fuel that the racers have. We're looking at 3 laps down, almost 4 laps. So is it really a game where it's more about strategy? Is it really a game about where you just go flat out? Do you conserve? What are the different approaches that we can expect in this race? Because we are seeing, like, for example, if Abdus has got a 2-second lead out here from Rahul, then the guys in P3 and P4 now, likewise, at the back with P5, P6, P7, P8, are suddenly bunched up, and P9 and P10 are in their own league. So how does it work out here? I mean, I'm assuming there's multiple approaches as we look into this.
Yeah.
And there's been a moment, I'm so sorry to cut you, there's been a moment, Hari Effect has had a moment and he's crashed.
No.
So
That is a bummer. He was up as high as P2 at one point of time. And with 25% of the race done, he is P9 and he has a mountain ahead of him. But we have true faith in him. 19 seconds, 20 seconds away from the lead. Can he manufacture some sort of miracle to get back to the podium? Gorbit again is facing the wrong way. He's trying a 3-point turn. Interesting.
pretty difficult with this car, I must say. But Hari Effects jumped into the pits.
Hari must have gotten some heavy damage with that incident and has immediately jumped into the pits. So
there are some interesting stats that I'd like to highlight. We've got Ishan in P7, he's picked up damage. Neil Deshpande in P6 has picked up a lot more damage. Vishal Zander in P5 also has damage. Dars Motorsport in P4 also has damage. It is our top 3 that are relatively clean at this point. So I think this really gives them a bit of a cushion, and I don't mean to add any commentator's curse out here, but if we're looking at 134s as a decent lap time for this particular race, so 20 laps. Again, coming back to strategies over here, Jilan, what are the kind of approaches that we're looking at?
Could you tell me which tires these guys are on, as I don't have the information here?
They
on softs
are
or
all
mediums?
on softs, and the guys who boxed, I think High Effects boxed and jumped to the mediums. Gorbits, I think, started on the mediums. Rest everyone else is on sports softs.
Interesting. So mediums, of course, is going to be the long stint of the lot. This would be a 2-stopper if my memory recollects well. But yeah, Abdus is doing well. He already has a 3-second lead here, and keeping the race clean is paramount here. Sure, you can afford slight damage. It wouldn't cost you much time, but anything more and you would have to pit, which would totally change the course of your race.
Interesting. I think it's more about really playing it smart, treating this more like a game of chess than actual racing, because clearly the tire wear being so high is definitely it's definitely having its effect on the racers, because we can see them sliding all around the corners. If you look at the guys at P6 and P7 at this point, the way they're battling it hard, you can clearly see the cars are being all super squirmish out here, and it's on certain straights that there's more traction, and then they're just sort of losing grip on corners, and with certain cars it's the other way. And one other thing that I want to understand over here, Jilan, is the fact that there was a point where the guy at P5 had a bigger gap, and then suddenly now we see the guys from P5 to P8 all being bunched up. So there's this sort of an elastic effect to this particular race. Why is it that we're seeing this?
I guess it's just differentiating between the guys that are a little more comfortable on the car versus the others. As we see, the ones with damage are at a loss, versus the guys at the front, which have a cleaner, smoother line without any damage. And as we see the leader and Rahul jump into the pits for their first round.
I think we're expecting the first series of pits, and interestingly, Dars has decided to stay out, so pretty gutsy.
Is he on softs
good
as
move,
well?
bad move, what do you think?
Is he on softs or mediums?
Dars is on softs with damage.
Oh, that is very brave indeed. That is a gamble. Let's see over the course of the next few laps if it does pay out.
So, just for the viewers, Jilan, are we also looking at some form of tuning settings that are allowed? Can they customize their cars in a certain way? Because obviously we're looking at a street circuit with a very street special car. What are the rules and regulations over here for our audiences while everyone pits and just sort of gets back to track?
So while categorically this would qualify as a tuner, no tuning has been allowed except brake balance. The entire agenda, or say the theme of the league, is to find the best driver in equal machinery. So everything else, like tuning or the differences of BOP in the cars, all of that has been kept aside. So it's purely about driving. And so yeah, that's one of the reasons this every round is a one make. And another thing was tuners like S2000, 350Z, and many other cars are not explored enough in our races. So, and
Correct.
even sports tires is it's an interesting dynamic to explore. And as we can see across all the racers, everyone is pretty comfortable with that setup, and it's something refreshing apart from the usual racing tires and group cars concept. But yeah,
Interesting. So while you mention about the fact that there are so many unexplored avenues, I was just keeping my eyes on our leader Abdus, and it was interesting to see that clearly the undercut was immense. I mean, he gained almost 5 seconds
out.
on his outlap over there. So
Yeah.
no doubt. I mean, the disparity between fresh and worn out tires with this particular sports soft compound is immensely massive for sure. And Abdus is absolutely flying. I don't know how the guys in P2, P3, and all will catch up, because the grid has widely spread, and we've got a bit of a battle brewing up maybe between P6 and P7, where Ishan still got some sort of damage with him. But I'm just trying to wrap my head around the fact that when we see Formula One races, sometimes the medium compounds tend to do better with as the race progresses. So, what do you think? Would these kind of orthodox approaches also come into play, or are we just looking at keep it simple, keep it clean, and just go for it?
I think a lot of the races have gone for the traditional softs, medium softs strategy. Uh, Note here that the sports mediums have been made as mandatory, so all of the racers are required to run at least one lap on the tire. But it's up to you when and how you want to run that, how many laps you want to run that. But I'm assuming Abdus has gone for softs and softs again, because he has just put in another blinder of a lap with a 34.1, and that's the fastest lap, and he's already nearly 7-8 seconds in the lead, which is a pretty comfortable margin. And between Ganesh and Rahul, that's another 7 seconds. So from P1 to P3 is around 14-15 seconds, which I can already see is basically a free pit stop. So in case Abdus has an incident or wants to go for the fastest lap or whatever, he would still end up P2 at worst, which is a very comfortable position to be in with not even half the race done.
Interesting. I mean, having said that, I think we're in for something really surprising at the end of this lap, because as I keep my eyes on Nyanesh in P2, I can see that he's already run out of fuel. So he's definitely going to enter the pits at the end of this lap. So we are going to see a bit of a shuffle in the grid, and a pretty
And
interesting strategic approach.
yes, that was strange. He has done, I think, what, 4-5 laps on mediums, which was supposed to be the tire with more endurance. Let's see what he switches up to now.
I think we'll find out in a moment's time. Now, Dars, who had pit right at the end, seems like he might get a jump on Nyanesh and
Oh,
PP,
it's
and
going
this
to be
could be close. This could be really close. And just like that, Dars picks up P3 there. So, pit stops definitely playing a role out here in terms of defining positions as well. So, as straightforward as it may seem, this does put in a bit of a threat for even our leaders, our top two. I mean, it's not as easy as we thought it would be.
As we see Caesar complimenting Ganesh's livery. which is pretty much giving himself a pat on the back, as he's, I think, designed that. Very cheeky Caesar. And as we see the sun rising, it's a very picturesque moment. The race began at midnight, FYI to all the viewers, and yeah, I think everyone's now gotten into the stride. There is a decent gap between everyone at the moment, as we see. Oh wow, look at that gap between P1 and P2. That's crazy, and we're barely at 50%.
And one thing I'd like to highlight over here is Abdus's consistency. I mean, all his laps are bang on within the early 134s to the mid 134s. There's just no margin for error over here. He's just absolutely flying. And
as Dars
I really
goes
hope he
wide there,
maintains this.
sorry to interrupt you, Ankur. Dars goes wide there, and Ganesh makes full use of that and takes P3. But that again hands the slipstream back to Dars, who will want to make a move going to the tunnel and into the right-hander eventually.
I hope they keep it clean for everyone's sake, because this does look like an interesting battle. It is brewing up. Dars is lining up a move. Will he go down the inside? Will he think about it?
No,
he does, but he bails out.
Yeah.
Interesting there. I think it's good that they're keeping it clean. I think Dars also understands it's probably more sensible to be behind Gyanesh at this point, considering that Gyanesh already has made a pit stop some time back, and the fact that Dars clearly is on slight.
Very true, yes. Oh, as we see, there is a lot of commotion. P6, 7, and 8. Some interesting battles between Vishal, Hari, and Neil. Is that 20 seconds? That is something crazy. With just 11 laps, 20 seconds with the lead, he could dictate his own race. It's basically him versus everyone else. He's running his own race. He could pit at the end of the race for a fresh set of tires and go for the fastest lap, break into 33s and call it a day.
He could, and I'm so sorry to cut you. Hari just had a moment again, and he's had a spin, and this was a battle between P6, P7, P8, and it seems like there was a little bit of contact, and or maybe Hari's just completely shot up his tires as he's just gonna jump into the pits now. I mean, he's just having a miserable day at this point, and it's just crazy. But yes, I absolutely agree with the fact that the way Abdus is flying, I mean, there's just no stopping this guy. Worn out tires or not, I mean, his rears are completely done, but even then, the kind of pace he's got, he's almost 2 to 3 seconds faster than Rahul in P2, which is just phenomenal.
Absolutely, and also I think I'd like to highlight that Abdus is someone who has recently got into the game. I think he was a rookie, I think, till a couple of months back, but yeah, he spent, obviously, as we can see, considerable amount getting comfortable with the game, getting up to pace, and with this kind of pace, maybe he would have been on par at the Lobby A guys.
That's been my thought as well. 20 seconds with only 12 laps to go, and look at that, he's almost picked up a free pit stop for himself as well, just like that, because he's clearly going to catch Rahul in no time over here, and if he could gain 5 seconds, Rahul on those worn out mediums will surely know that it's only a matter of time before Abdus really ends up catching him once those tires are completely into the right set of temperatures. But having said that, I'd like to highlight one thing, Jilan. Even when it was midnight, the graphics, I mean, of this game simply look beautiful, and the fact that, as you mentioned, it's a tuner race that we're looking at. I mean, it was just phenomenal. So hats off to this planning at your end, man.
Yeah, it's turning out to be well and fun. But yeah, as Mehul says, he might have. Oh, as Ganesh has a slight movement into the wall.
And just like that, Abdus ends up taking the lead again.
That was easy.
Yeah, that was easy. That was very much something that you'd pull off had you been in the race as well. So clearly, it seems like there's been some sort of inspiration here from MJK, aka Duki Atma himself. Honestly, the way Abdus is driving is very much reminding of the races that you've had. And just like that, he's just pulled off 1.6 second lead.
Wow.
On P2, so he's flying. And Rahul now, does he jump to the pits? No, he does not. So he decides to stay ahead.
So another thing I'd want to highlight to the viewers is the prize money is at a team level. So whatever position your team finishes, you get the drivers, both of them get the equal share of the prize money. So with that being said, I am very sure Abdul's teammate, that is Mr. Gunn, must be very happy looking at how the race has panned out for them. And yes, Mehul, he pretty much would have beaten some of the Lobby A guys. Maybe we can even look into swapping Mr. into Lobby B, like like what Helmut Marko would have done at Red Bull Racing.
I think everyone would agree with that. There would not be a single one who wouldn't say no to that. But I'm just keeping an eye on the telemetry data between Abdus and Rahul, and what I'm seeing is that there is a slight variance on. It's just maybe he's just driving really smoothly out here. Or what is it that he's almost 10-20 k's faster on almost every corner on the straight, and Rahul is definitely struggling. So maybe it's important to make note that traction with these tires.
Yeah, let's just go on board for a lap with the leader, with Abdus.
So as you can see, when we are with him, the kind of pace he's picking up, look at that, he's doing almost 275 k's on freshers at 280 k's there. And the other guys, I was just looking at them, they were barely struggling to hit 260 k's, on a relatively worn out, 50% worn out set of tires. So clearly it's not just a race where you can just think that, hey, you know what, I'm going to battle it out. This is very Formula 1-esque, where you can maybe think about attacking for like the first 2 laps or so when the tires are in like their optimum condition. But beyond that, it's just really about being conservative and being smart and tactical about it.
Absolutely, Ankur. As we can see Abdus here with a smooth Jensen Button-esque sort of driving style. Goes into the SS as he heads on to the only hairpin on the track. Yeah, just a slight kiss of the wall, but yeah, he seems in his zone at the moment, which is a treat to watch.
Absolutely agreed. And having said that, P6 and P7 seem like they've got their own little battle cooking up as well. Definitely more like a street race with Ishan just sliding and that rear end wanting to just step out. So there's the very beautiful drifting shots there as well. Hats off to the drivers for really being able to control the cars in a certain way, considering that you're on the sports compound and not the racing. So yeah, having said that, and there's been a moment again between P8 and P9. Oh, sorry, P9 and P10.
Oh, that's Gorbit again.
Yes, that's Gorbit again, and Neeraj Pandey. And Gorbit just picked up an immense amount of damage, and so has Neil. So clearly, the guys in P8, P9, and P10 are just not having a good day at the office so far. But Ishan, who at one point looked like he was right at the tail of Vishal, is just sort of losing more and more time. Just
Gorbit. But yeah, it's been a pretty forgettable race for Gorbit. I'm sure he's a mighty fast chap. I'm sure he will be back in the next round.
Yeah, I think clearly a sign here that Abdus has, as you mentioned rightly, Jilan, the fact that he's really spent a good amount of time in understanding and maximizing how you can get into like the 134s. I'm really intrigued now and actually looking forward to what happens in the second race, which is Lobby A, because clearly I think Abdus over here has set a benchmark as compared to all the guys in P2 and P3. When we look at it, that they've been maybe touching the 135s occasionally, but it's been consistent 136s for Nanesh. Almost every lap is a 137 for Rahul, and I don't see anyone who's touching the 134s here. So clearly, Abdus has aced this entire car track combination from the looks of it.
Nope, and Hari is again facing the wrong way. Yeah, this is the damage bit is quite stringent. Or
Yeah, I think damage heavy really helps, because when you look at heavy, it just sort of mimics what happens in real life. Correct? That you pick up some sort of a damage on your front wing, or some other body part that can be immediately fixed. At least you can pit. You have to pit to fix. There is no auto fixing. So it also brings in a lot more discipline in everyone's driving. It also ensures that while you might want to be a little more aggressive, it puts you equally at risk as well. So it's really good. It's phenomenal the way this game works on those lines, and it seems like Abdus is about to lap our friend in P8 here, that is Neil Deshpande. And might I tell you that Neil Deshpande himself was a really fast driver. He's been an 888 driver himself. So I mean, the kind of pace that Abdus is showing, as I think he's going to have maybe one more round of pit stops taking place. 30 seconds, Chilan,
wow,
between P1 and P2, which is mental.
30 seconds on a 135 lap time is something nuts. But yeah, that's he's pretty much put the gauntlet down for the rest of the guys for the remaining rounds, and yeah, should be an interesting league henceforth.
I think Abdus' teammate will be super happy with the fact that he's going to pick up maximum points over here. Touchwood. I don't mean to jinx it and put any form of commentator's curse, but yeah, I think this really helps, because it sort of takes off some of the pressure of him for him to deliver in his race as well. These big formats, that are there, where it's both the drivers responsible and can bag in almost 50 to 52 points, if they really perform well, which is a huge amount of points that you can capture, and it could just change round by round. So the risk potential is equally high as compared to the reward potential out here. But having said that, with the grid being spread wide, Chilan, why don't you take us through while we have 2 laps to go? And there's something wrong with Rahul here. What's happened to Rahul? He just sort of had a bit of a moment. I think Rahul's disconnected. Oh my god. That is a shame. Rahul just had a technical issue and he's disconnected. So, I mean, Danesh will be happy with that he just gets P2. And Dars, he's also relatively kept it clean. I think Dars has been one of the gainers for considering where he started and where he is now. So he's going to be happy with that. I think everyone in the grid will be happy with the fact that, there's been a DC, but from the looks of it, it seems like...
But yeah, as Abdus is on the 18th lap with 2 laps to go after this, it's Ganesh in P2, Shebin aka Das Motorsports in P3, Vishal in P4, Ishan in P5, Sammy in P6, Neil in P7, Hari in P8, and Gorbit completing the grid.
Clearly, so while we have 2 laps to go, Jilan, why don't you quickly take us through just what is it that our audience is in for? What can they expect, from the next race, from the upcoming races? Just a quick glimpse on this particular tournament.
Well, so people were labeling Abdus as the alien. If you actually want, I'd recommend the viewers to stick around for lobby A if they would actually want to see real aliens, because we have Makov himself.
Some of the fastest guys in the
And-
country.
Yeah, and Mr. Pleb, who is finally back on his wheel after a sabbatical with the controller. So that should be fun. That is a very interesting battle. Everyone would be looking forward to.
I think that's going to be epic in its own way for sure. So when you look at it like that, with the top guys battling it out, and clearly Abdus has been a gem of a find here. If this is the consistency that, if he can be consistent rather with these kind of performances, then definitely it truly is commendable with the kind of driving that he's bringing on the table, because he clearly is raising the standards of lobby B. So just quickly for our viewers, as Abdus is about to start the penultimate lap of the race, the league, this particular league is where we've got 10 teams, each having 2 drivers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jilan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 10 teams, 2 drivers, each having their own, and Hari Effect just has another moment there.
Did was there a contract with Abdus while
I
Hari's
don't
won?
think so. I think Abdus has been very much in control.
Okay.
But the point is that both the drivers of the teams are going to be segregated as per their qualifying times into lobby A and lobby B. So what we're seeing right now is lobby B having their own race, and then after this immediately I'd request all the viewers to stick around, because we're going to have lobby A, and as Jalen rightly mentioned, that's going to be even more action packed. It's going to be even more faster, and you'll really see some very interesting strategies coming into play. But the fact is that when you look at it from that perspective, you look at the kind of driving that Abdus is doing, nowhere can you say that the lobby B guys are slower.
Definitely.
Clearly I think this is going to be a massive wake-up call and a big strong shrug on everyone's shoulder that, hey, you know what, you can't take lobby B for granted. And considering the fact that there is prize money involved, I think Abdus is really doing complete justice to taking this league seriously in all its might, and really showing the kind of pace that one needs to have.
Very well said, Ankur. As Abdus is swerving on the grid on the final straight as he should, and that is the checkered flag for him. He's led from the start to end. It's been a very
Tremendous driving there by Abdus, absolutely tremendous. That was phenomenal. The kind of right from the moment quali started, he just kept putting in fastest lap after fastest lap. It's been a grand slam victory, to be honest, in my opinion.
As
Jilan.
Ganesh takes a very well deserved P2.
And Daz is just about to take P3 as well. So yeah, I mean, congratulations to our top 3. In our terms, that's genuinely GG. And a big W, in fact, for Abdus. And I mean, the kind of performance that's there, even for Nyanesh and Daj. Vishal Zander sliding his way into P4 there. So simply sensational, as the cameras have caught that. And we've got Sammy in P5. Ishan will also follow in P6. And Neil Deshpande will be in P7, Corbett in P8, and the Hari Effect in P9. And that will pretty much wrap up our grid. So this has been a fantastic first race, Jilan. For sure. There's a lot of action in it, a lot of strategy involved in it, some serious pace from some of the guys, very clean driving. I think the guys in Lobby A definitely have made their notes and will know how to sort of go about it and accordingly take action. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, but that was something. Yeah, that was a very good first race of the league. Nobody expected, or Abdus himself would take this win. before the league started, he was very apprehensive and nervous about the racing and if he would belong to this lobby or this league at all. But yeah, as his drive has more than enough, it's proved his level, and wow, what a race, what a drive by him and by Ganesh in P2 and Dars Shebin in P3 to round up the podium.
Simply sensational driving there by the guys in Lobby B, and I think in just about 10:30, if I'm not wrong, Jilan, is where we go about with Lobby A. So if you could just quickly sum up the grid, and there's points for fastest lap as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
So
and Abdus gets that as well. So the extra point for him, good for him, as he gets the fastest lap by around 7/10 of a second from Ganesh in P2. Then there's Dars Shibin Motorsports in P3, followed by Vishal, followed by Sami, Ishan, Neil, and Gorbit.
really cool. So any last words from you, Jilan, about this race and what the guys ahead are up for?
No, that was an interesting race. Now on to Lobby A in about 20 minutes. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Fantastic. So stay tuned, guys. We will just join back us at around 10:30 sharp IST, and you will see us live with Lobby as well. So till then, thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Abdus, Ganesh, and Dars Motorsports, Shebin, for an amazing drive, and to all our drivers as well, who really made it through in these sort of very interesting, slightly challenging conditions. So looking forward to Lobby A then. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, folks.
Thank you. Good night.